we didn't play well enough to win, and that's a credit to UNLV. You know, they're coming off a great win over Utah State, and they're feeling good about themselves, and they came on the road and got a gutty road win. And this is hard to do in this conference, so I got to give them credit. Obviously, I'm not happy with how we played, but the beauty of this is I'll obsess over it. The coaching staff will suffer for a week, but the thing I love about the game is the players are resilient. You know, they'll feel bad, but they'll bounce back, and they'll be ready to go on Monday and get ready for the next game. And that's what you have to do to be a good team and a good program. You can't obsess forever. You know we didn't play well, and we give UNLV credit, but we have to bounce back. You know, they came off 2 losses, and then they beat Utah State and went on the road and beat us. So you just have to fight through the tough times, and that's what we have to do now. We have to fight.
What was it that got Miles Bird going in the second half? I think he was 0 for 6 from the floor in the first half. He scored 21 points in the second half. How did you get him going?
You know, he was 0 for 7 the first half and couldn't get a shot to go in. And even when we tried to get him downhill on the drive, he's a little off balance and fell down. You know, so he finally got a clean look or two based on probably running a little bit better offense the second half. You know, it was almost forced reversal of the ball. First half we ran stuff, and we were too thirsty to go right away and attack without moving the ball enough. You know, so lessons have to be learned, and I put them in a more programmed movement in the second half where they had to go side to side, and it was better for us. But we didn't play well enough to beat a team that played pretty good on the road.
Does it change the strategy defensively when early on there were fouls being called both ways? I think both teams were in the bonus maybe within 8 or 10 minutes in the first half. You had to sit some players with 2 fouls. But does it change anything defensively when the game was being called the way it was, at least in that first half?
Yeah, I mean, it was called pretty tight today, obviously. I mean, I watched Boise, New Mexico last night, and you would have had to pay $1 million to get a foul called in that game. It was so physical.
You're right.
So you don't know game to game. You know, the refs are good. They call it how they call it, and you have to adjust. But to have Magoon foul out in 11 minutes is a tall task for anybody.
I think back to maybe a year ago for you. It wasn't a perfect season from a team perspective. You guys had ebbs and flows. San Diego State was the exact same thing a year ago in the regular season. What does it take to navigate the waters? You get into conference play, and you have to kind of put a game behind you and move on to the next.
Yeah, I mean, conference play is way different than the non-conference, you know, because, I mean, these games, they stem from last year. They stem from years prior where teams come, you know, with something personal to prove. So I just think that's something we're learning here. I know for myself, I definitely feel the rivalry, you know, between each game when it comes to the Mountain West Conference, and that's something I love and I embrace. But like you said, last year for myself wasn't, you know, the most perfect season, but it just comes to, you know, buying in and really, you know, allowing the coaches to coach us and be coachable, and at the same time really listening and learning from these losses that are really lessons.
What do you do with the young teammates of yours? Because you've been in their shoes. You've been a freshman, redshirt freshman, true sophomore.
Yeah.
What do you tell your young teammates as you move forward?
Man, I think the most important thing for our team in general, including myself, is just watching the film with the coaches, because there's so much we can learn, and there's so many different situations that just occurred in this simple game right here that we can learn from and we can carry, you know, as we try to make a championship run here in the regular season. But I just think the film is most important, and just showing up every single day with life, because this is the game that we love, and this is the opportunity we have to showcase our skills, our talent, and how much we're together as a team every single day.
Air Force in Nevada coming up on the road. That's what to come for your program. What's it going to take here to get ready for next week?
Got to bounce back. Got to have a good attitude. Got to believe in yourselves, and you got to put your work in. So we'll do all those things. So we can't obsess over what's happened. All we can do is all we can really do things about is what's in the future, and that's what we're going to focus on in the future.